campaigns have basically three core tenets you can control, that being money, message, and voter contact. And all of those have been affected tactically, I'd say, in some form because of COVID. In general, you mentioned fundraising. I think this is obviously a healthcare crisis, and it's become an economic crisis as well. And hopefully, we're climbing out of that, and that's good. But a lot of campaign events have been taken off. They're not in person any longer. You don't have retail politicking, so to speak. So on the fundraising front, though, most of our events have been moved to Zooms. Really, all of our events thus far have been moved to Zooms. Zoom meetings, and I think that's pretty typical with everyone across the political spectrum. And then in addition to that, you're also seeing direct mail have probably a more efficient return, not an efficient return, but a more productive return on investment. Although if you're doing prospecting mail, if you're doing digital prospecting, email marketing, things of that nature for donations, typically from what I have heard talking to other people and what I've observed, the average donation's gone down somewhat, but people are home more. People are consuming more media. And so donations have actually gone up, if that makes sense. And I think that's an interesting element to it. And then in terms of like the market, the campaign market itself, I would say, for instance, in Oklahoma, in our 5th congressional district, in our media market, you're buying TV today at a 20% discount from a year ago, just because less money's in the economy, less people are buying television ads, and it's depressing the market. There's less money in campaigns right now. Most campaigns, I will say, actually, the resources you all shared in that checklist, those are very helpful. And I think it's just following common sense for the most part, making sure your passwords are secure, keeping your assets secure and safe. I think a lot of trouble comes, really, there's two fronts that, can be kind of addressed in terms of security, especially cybersecurity. There's, I guess, espionage and other campaigns, and I don't find that particularly useful. Ask any of the Watergate burglars if that helped them, defeat Richard Nixon in that election. I don't think it did. I think we're fortunate we live in a nation of laws, and usually when people try to do something wrong, internally, domestically, from a political sense, it's not that effective, and it doesn't really go anywhere. I think you need to control who has what information within your campaign, though. Like your polling memo needs to, be close to the chest, and so does, your strategy for like buying media, things of that nature. At the end of the day, though, like someone hacks into your emails, don't put anything in email or in writing that you don't want to be in the newspaper. I think that's another pretty good best practice internally in terms of domestic issues dealing with cybersecurity and elections. That being said, I think most campaigns, if they hacked into someone's email, they to get an advantage in the campaign, they would say, oh, they're raising money, talking to voters, and they're going to advertise. And so, I don't know how much that helps you necessarily. In terms of the bad actors and foreign nationals trying to influence our election process, that's sort of outside the realm of campaigns. And in this sense, a typical congressional race is going to, raise like $1-2 million. We have a pretty heated one in Oklahoma City right now. It's not like working for IBM, or like Google or something. You don't have $50 billion, in revenue that you can commit to security, to cybersecurity. So you need to follow best practices. And then in terms of bad actors trying to influence elections, I think that institutions that are advertising mediums, Facebook, Google, Twitter, it's very difficult to commit propaganda, to put out propaganda aside from influencers, because I believe they've done a good job of cleaning up and policing themselves. And if you see influencers who are influencing the process with propaganda, I think it's on campaigns to report them and report them to institutions, and there's procedures in place to mitigate that. And that's kind of my take on this issue.